Hello and welcome to another Tech Articles. In today's article, I'm going to cover installing and setting up Dashboard Sync and the partner Child Sync plugins for MainWP, and I'm going to load the Flowmattic recipes, which were updated yesterday to 2.0 for MainWP. So I've created two sites here with MainWP installed. We've got a dashboard site that has nothing installed on it bar the dashboard and pro reports, and there's nothing else really of any use there except for WPcodebox, which we're going to use to load the recipe. And on the child site we have the same. Basically we have child site for MainWP child reports, because child reports is part of this, and we've got WPcodebox too, which is where we're going to load our recipe. So the first thing we need to do is go to the GitHub and download these two plugins. So the child sync would go onto the child, and the dashboard would go onto the dashboard. So while they download, which would only take a few seconds, I'm going to go to the child site. I'm going to add a new plugin. I'm going to upload that plugin. I'm going to drag it onto here, and that is the child site loaded. I'm then going to go over to the dashboard, and I'm going to do the same, and this time we're going to load dashboard sync. And effectively that is the MainWP part of this loaded. So you'll see now we've got dashboard sync here, and if we go into here we'll have MainWP child sync. So that's that all done and ready to go. So the first thing we need to do on the child site is set our custom prefix. It starts off with the word custom, so they come matched. So I'm going to show you on the actual dashboard site as well, so you can see that they come already matched, but they really should be changed to something that is customized to you and your installation. So they both come matching with the word custom. I always also recommend the wildcard searching, and to make it more efficient, that you end with an underscore. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to change these to the word video. And I'm just going to put an underscore at the end like so. I'm going to save that setting, and I'm going to do the same on the dashboard, and I'm going to save that setting. And now if we refresh both these pages, those settings should now be within our installations. So they are now both using exactly the same custom prefix. And that's the first thing we need to do in terms of setup. And that's really all we need to do to the MainWP basic setup. So the first thing I'm going to do now is head back to the child site, and I'm going to open WPcodebox. Now this is a fresh install of WPcodebox. I don't even think I've put a license key in it. I haven't, so there's no local snippets, there's no cloud snippets, it's just empty. So I'm going to call this one Flowmattic. Now this is the child site, so we want the child snippet to be here. So we're going to go back to the repo, we're going to go back to the main directory, we're going to open the recipe directory, and you'll see this one here, Flowmattic, where it says updated Flowmattic recipe to include last 10 failed and successful tasks. That was the last update for 2.0. We're going to push child site, we're going to push raw, and we're just going to copy this snippet. Now I'm going to give you the standard warning: you shouldn't run snippets from the internet without knowing what they do. There is a risk to that. In this case, I've programmed nothing into it that's nefarious, but you don't know that. So I would at least maybe ask ChatGPT or review the code and see what it does. But actually all it does in this case is, now we're going to need to remove that second PHP, and that is our child site set up to run. Now all should be well in the world. I'm just going to check that's all loaded and it's running. Flowmattic, it looks like it is. Yep, that's all good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to put dashboard settings in place. I'm not going to copy the dashboard version here, because we'll do that in a second when we enable the dashboard. Because what I want to do next is show you that you don't need the dashboard settings if you're not going to use the admin page in the dashboard. It will automatically produce the tokens with just the child sync snippet. So that's that done. We don't need to do anything on the dashboard at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and this is the database. for that dashboard server. And I'm just going to refresh this, and you'll see that that's pretty much all the data that's in this table for now. And I'm in the WP main options table. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over to my dashboard. I'm going to go to overview, and I'm going to go to sites. And I only have one site installed on here, and I'm just going to refresh. We're going to sync some data, and that says it was successful. And we're now going to reload this page here. Now, all being well, we get some more data, and we do straight away. You see here, we get our video, which was our custom prefix, the RUP, MainWP, Flowmattic activated equals 1, telling us that Flowmattic is activated and good to go. And if you go to page 2, you'll see that we've got our live stats from Flowmattic. Now, if we go to the child site, we can go to Flowmattic. You can see this is the case. And what we'll do here is we're just going to create a workflow. And we're not going to get it to do anything. It is just going to be a webhook trigger. We're going to call it workflow 1. It is active. We're going to save that workflow, and we're going to come back to this in a minute. So we'll go back to the dashboard. We can now see we've got 1 workflow and 33 integrations. So we go back to our dashboard. We refresh. It'll pull the live data from the site. And if we refresh our database, you will see when we get to page 2 that we now have a workflow of 1. So that's all automatic. Now, what I'm going to do now is, and this is a optional step. I wouldn't suggest you did this now, but I'm going to show you that it generates the tokens without any anything needs to be done on the dashboard site. So what I've done here is I've just uploaded test.php, which is a test output PHP file. It will basically output a PDF with these values inside it, and you'll see here this is what is going to become populated with our Flowmattic data. The rest won't populate because these are fresh installs and we're not doing anything with them. But I'm just putting this in so I don't have to type each one of these out and add them to the pro reports. There is nothing fancy here. I'm just doing it for this. In fact, I will delete the rest of these. We don't need them. So I'm just going to delete that, save that, close down this Sublime, get this transferred across to the site, and that's it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our dashboard. We're going to go to extensions. We're going to go to pro reports. We've got a test report here that allowed me to set up all those folders, and I'm going to change the report template to the one we just uploaded, which was test.php. I'm going to save that draft, and then I'm going to preview this report. And now, as you're aware, we did nothing on the dashboard site except upload this new template, and it hasn't worked. And the reason it hasn't worked is because this doesn't exist. When I was in testing and I wrote test, this was my custom field, my custom prefix. And in this one, we're using video. So what we need to do is open that PHP file. And when it opens, well, it's currently transferring. Well, so what we're going to do now is a find and replace, and I'm just going to select this so that it's the find and replace. We're going to find and replace that prefix, and we're going to replace it with the word video underscore, like so. Replace all, and that's it. Should be done. Should be safe. I'm going to save that. It will transfer across via FTP. I will close that down, and then I'm going to come out of this report and go back here and back into that report, and I'm going to preview that report, and now it should pull the right data from the database. So it generates those tokens automatically. We didn't need to do anything on our admin site, and that is the base underliner of Syncer. Syncer produces pro report tokens on the fly. So the next thing we need to do is, if we want to have a Flowmattic page on our client sites, so if I open this in a new tab, and I'm going to go to extensions. So if we want a Flowmattic tab here, we need to upload the dashboard snippet. So we're going to go to dashboard sync, and we're going to reload that in a second. So we're going to back to our dashboard. We're going to go to WPcodebox. I'm going to put Flowmattic in here. I'm going to save that. We're going to go back to the GitHub repo. We're going to get the dashboard snippet. We're going to go back to raw. We're going to grab this code. And we are going to go back to our WPcodebox instance. We are going to paste that code in. We're going to check we only have one starting PHP bracket. We do. We're going to save it. We're going to activate it. And we're going to save it again. And I'm just going to reload the page to check that that loaded all fine, which it should do. And it does, there's no errors. So now dashboard sync is enabled. I'm going to refresh this page. You'll see I now get the option to enable a new page, and that page is Flowmattic. I'm going to save that setting. And I'm going to go back to our child site here, and you'll see it hasn't appeared, but if I refresh the page, we now have Flowmattic as a tab within MainWP. If we select it, we get our live data, and it says there has been no tasks failed or successful. Well, let's go and generate some successful tasks. Now, we created a workflow earlier, and that workflow was workflow 1, and it is just a webhook. So to be successful, all we have to do is activate the webhook. So we're copying that webhook URL. I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to stick it in, and I'm going to load it up a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. We should have now 4 successful tests. And we're going to go back to our dashboard, and we're going to resync our dashboard data. And you'll now see that we have 4 successful tasks run for workflow 1. And that data is synced across live. This will display the latest 10 successes and also the latest 10 failures. We've had no failures because it was just a webhook. So what we're going to do back now is we're going to head back to Flowmattic on the child site. And that's over here. And we're going to make a new workflow. And we're going to call this failure. We're going to enable this workflow. We are going to then put a PHP function in here. I'm going to select this function. I'm going to configure it with a name that doesn't exist, so it can never pass. We're going to save that workflow again, and then we're going to copy this one's webhook. Now, this will be a failure. 1, 2, 3. 3 failures. We head back to our dashboard page. As you can see, it hasn't updated. We sync our data, and we should now have our 3 failures. And we do. We have 3 failures. You can see here that previously it was a webhook, and now we have a webhook with a PHP function. And we've got our 3 failures. And that is how it works. You see our workflows have gone up to 2. We have 7 task executions, which we do. 4 here, 3 here. And that is effectively how you use Dashboard Sync with its counter child sync plugin and the recipes for Flowmattic to add a new page to your Flowmattic installation. So you can now view all of your Flowmattic stats for all of your child sites within MainWP. And interestingly, if your child site doesn't have Flowmattic, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to this dashboard database where we've been syncing. We're going to go back to page 1. And I'm going to change this value to deleted. If I change it to 0, the same would happen. But I'm going to delete it for speed and ease. And I'm going to now go back to this page here. I'm going to reload this page. And it tells me that Flowmattic is not activated or synced on this child site. And if I was to sync it, it would fix itself, because it now knows that Flowmattic is installed. And that's effectively it. That's how easy it is to set up. Obviously, I've made some assumptions here that you've got MainWP installed, that you're using it, that you've got Pro Reports installed and you're using it and it's set up. And to use the report tokens for your stats here, all you need to do is copy them. Very similar to what I did in test.php and add them to your own pro report template. And that can be just a template in the email, both. So in your case, it would be whatever your custom prefix is plus this here. And that's how it works. That's how this works. That's how easy it is to do. That's how quick it is to do. Hopefully that's been a really good introduction to how to set up sync, but also how to enable Flowmattic stats within your dashboard site and get the data syncing from your child sites. Now I've done this with WPcodebox, and you could use there's an inbuilt snippet function within MainWP. You could use that. I prefer to use WPcodebox with Cloud Sync. I can just pull them down as a folder that I want to load into each of my child sites, and for me that's neater and easier. It's quicker for me to turn them on and off. I can turn the folder on and off. I don't have to do individual ones, but it will work. It should work with any snippet program. You don't have to use WPcodebox. I just think it's the best snippet program that there currently is. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this is useful. I hope this is useful to you. Please do like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and for more information on sync as it continues to develop.